I have a suspicion that not only do I think Zohran's going to win, but I think it's going to be, inshallah, over 50% of the vote. And I think a part of the reason why the polls are looking inconsistent.
If you need an incentive to vote today, as we're approaching the mayoral election, the Board of Elections will be handing out these Halloween-themed voting stickers. Even after turnout cooled a bit yesterday because of the rain, it's still running way ahead of where it was 4 years ago. We told you that 2 recent polls paint a picture of an impending Zohran Mamdani romp. Well, Mamdani attended, appropriately, a paint and pour event with seniors in Brooklyn yesterday. The 2 polls show him leading former Governor Andrew Cuomo by 16 and 25 percentage points, respectively. Republican Curtis Sliwa is in 3rd place in both, though he's nipping at Cuomo's heels in one of them. What do these surveys mean? Depends, of course, on whom you ask.
Polls give us a snapshot in time. It's great when there's a good one. It's, we look past it when there's a bad one, but really all they are a prediction. It's up to us to actually win this race.
I think the polls have no idea what they're talking about because they have never seen this kind of turnout before.
I don't believe any of the polls. I believe the people because I'm in the streets, I'm in the subways.
Cuomo appeared with Mayor Eric Adams, who's endorsed him, in Harlem. The 2 fought back against accusations that Cuomo has leveled Islamophobic attacks against Mamdani. For instance, a super PAC supporting Cuomo funded this ad that shows the words "Jihad on NYC" over Mamdani's picture. Cuomo says Mamdani is the divisive one, and what's more, his ideas cannot become reality.
Yeah, it sounds good. Flying buses, free food, freezing, rents. It's all untrue. It is all untrue. He has no plan, and he has no ability or experience to accomplish anything in this city.
Not only has former Mayor Mike Bloomberg endorsed Cuomo, but he has also pumped millions into helping him get elected. $8 million in the primary and recently $1.5 million to a pro-Cuomo super PAC. Both Sliwa and Mamdani, though, sound unfazed by the former mayor's support for Cuomo.
As Taylor Swift says, I've seen this film before, but unlike she says, we actually like the ending.
What a waste of money, Bloomberg. And again, the billionaires don't get it.
Through 6 days of early voting, turnout is running more than 4 times what we saw 4 years ago. So turnout really has been the story so far. Early voting will...
Controversial, crazy lock with very little evidence-based, beyond vibes. Are you ready? I think the older voter turnout is also going to favor Zohran Mamdani. Not like by massive margins or anything, but I think there are a lot more older people that are turning out for Mamdani than we think. I think that there are aunties and unks that have never been successfully polled or correctly polled in previous elections due to their lack of performance, especially on the Asian demographics. I have a suspicion that not only do I think Zohran's going to win, but I think it's going to be, inshallah, over 50% of the vote. And I think a part of the reason why the polls are looking inconsistent with what I'm saying here is because older people that are going to be voting for Zohran that are not getting weighed appropriately because of the demographics that they are getting polled from.
Will continue through Sunday. Of course, Election Day is Tuesday.
Robert, thank you. Now,
last weekend of the political battle over who will be the next mayor of New York. The 3 candidates verbally jousting with their opponents and trying to convince those who haven't yet used early voting to vote for them. An especially tight group of voters, those over the age of 45. A dead heat right now in that category between Mamdani and Cuomo. Should be an interesting weekend to be sure. Here's NJ Burkett.
Zohran Mamdani tried his hand at Tai Chi with seniors on the Lower East Side, continuing his attempt to reach out to older voters.
Now is the time to deliver an affordability agenda for seniors who are being pushed out of the city they call home.
When it comes to seniors and middle-aged New Yorkers, Mamdani is essentially tied with Andrew Cuomo among voters the former governor desperately needs. A major finding in the Marist poll that shows Mamdani with a big lead overall. Cuomo campaigned with conservative Russian immigrants in Brighton Beach. Among them, Inna Vernikov, a Republican city councilwoman who's no longer endorsing Curtis Sliwa.
You see what I mean? You see what I'm saying? That they're in a fucking deadlock in and of itself. And the one demographic that Andrew Cuomo has to do LeBron numbers on makes me feel like it's actually better for Zohran than we even think. It makes me feel somewhat vibes based, but it makes me feel like the plus 55, maybe even probably not plus 65, but the plus 55 is going to surprise people. Because right now, when you look at some of the past poll performance, the plus 55 is like Andrew Cuomo margin within the margin of error over Zohran, right? But I think it's actually better for Zohran than we think. I think Zohran's going to win plus 55. And I think a part of that is going to be from the unks and aunties. The Muslim unks and aunties are going to come out in ways that they normally don't.
Goal right now is to beat Mamdani. And in this election, the only one who could beat Mamdani is Governor Andrew Cuomo.
What I'm trying to do is put together a coalition of Democrats, Republicans, independents, to really come together and let's say we are New Yorkers first. And this is an existential threat to New York City.
A super PAC supporting Cuomo is running this bleak ad.
But right now, New York is being torn apart. Zohran Mamdani's socialist agenda would make it worse.
And Cuomo himself is posting this cartoon in social media. Sliwa today ridiculed both men. Mamdani, he said, will bleed the city's taxpayers.
He is clearly Dracula, the vampire, and we see Andrew Cuomo is clearly the political zombie who's come back from the dead.
I love when you describe the meme. That's awesome.
Given the state of the race, do you think Kung Fu would have been better?
I continue to be confident, but will never get complacent.
The fact is, Mamdani may be more worried now about complacency than Cuomo, especially when it comes to his youngest voters. At City Hall, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
This Sunday, I'm running. We're all running to do something that's never been done before. To set a new record, to enter the history books. Just not at the marathon, because my 12-minute, 54-second mile is... We're gonna do it at the doors. The current record for the most doors knocked in a single day in New York history was 200,000. That wasn't by one campaign. It was by every campaign up and down the ballot across the entirety of the state. We want to shatter that record this Sunday, right here across the 5 boroughs with all of you. 3,500 volunteers have already signed up for shifts. With 3,000 more, we could do what's never been done. So,
bro, this gamifying campaign, the gamifying the campaign stuff, like the get out the vote initiatives and gamifying of like canvassing operations is so fucking brilliant. Like I'm not a fucking nerd that cares about stuff like this that much, but god damn, it's fucking smart. Like these are brilliant get out the vote initiatives, man. The team, I feel like that aspect of the team doesn't get as much recognition because like everyone focuses on the media side. And the media side is great. This is a real stars are aligning moment, honestly. Great fucking canvas operation, great social media, charismatic candidate, and all of it is centered around a phenomenal policy platform. I think people are going to try to redo this route, regardless of their ideological convictions, for campaigns all across the country. And you will see many hilarious failures from establishment Democrats that are like 854 years old that try to do similar things and fail spectacularly. But I think this is a dramatic, game-changing campaign. If Democrats are not paying close attention to this, which they are, I know that they are. Cuomo has stopped naming you. Yesterday on ABC, he referred to you as a colleague. He doesn't want people to Google you anymore. Wait, what happened? Bro, he was giving me a new audience every day. What happened? Is it because people were Googling Hasan Piker And then the shit that was coming up was like a New York Times profile. Is that why? Leading people to perhaps not consider me to be this fucking ever-present danger to New York?
Inflammatory remarks that we have. You have to be very careful as a leader not to inflame divisions. So he calls the NYPD, for example, racist and wicked and corrupt. President Barack Obama, evil and a liar. He won't denounce globalized intifada, which is kill Jewish people. We have the largest Jewish population in New York outside of Israel. And these are very inflammatory remarks. He has a colleague who he associates with that says, America deserved 9/11.
No, he just realized it's not a smart. I don't like how much your name is out there. It seems more like he's modulating his message for the ABC Normie audience by not naming you. No, it's partially because it's easier for him to say he has a colleague who said America deserved 9/11 than it is to say Hasan Pica, an unknown entity, that if people actually search, they will find out is not this like dangerous fucking radical by mainstream outlets. You know what I mean? Because like, remember, old people are going to look this up and they're going to look at like the New York Times or some shit. And when they look at the New York Times, they're going to fucking see me like be talked about as in positive terms. Yeah. Or on GQ or on any number of different like mainstream media outlet.
America deserved 9/11. Two New Yorkers who we lost 3,000 people on 9/11, 150,000 people suffering from 9/11 related illness. That is a terrible thing to say, you know. That's what I'm referring to when I say he doesn't get the New York value system.
On a recent radio show, you brought up 9/11. What if another 9/11, God forbid, were to happen on Mamdani?
Look, Michael from Pennsylvania says, dude, some billionaire is obsessed with you. You got to watch out, brother. It's not one. Elon Musk, Palmer Luckey, Bill A. Packman. Could be any number of different wealthy people. What's funny, Eddie from Steak. Andrew Cuomo constantly hitting that line was so unimaginably dumb that he had to drop it. And I guess it's like better for him to just be like, oh, he has a colleague that said this. But even then, he cooked himself because he went on the conservative Sid Rosenberg's radio show like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, where he said Zohran is going to, or 2 weeks ago, where he says Zohran, like he agreed with the statement that his conservative show host said that Zohran would actually cheer on another 9/11. It's over. After that point, you can't bring up 9/11. It's over at that point. Like, you're cooked. Everyone in the media is going to be like, okay, you're bringing up 9/11, but like you're saying Zohran would cheer on 9/11. So then his argument is, oh, well, don't hold me responsible for what my host says. Okay, then why are you holding Zohran responsible for a media hit that he did when he was fucking polling at 5% with a progressive Twitch streamer that didn't bring up 9/11 at all? Cuomo created his own fucking dumbass 9/11 scandal, so it's just like cooked him even harder.
Watch. The radio host then said he would cheer. You responded and chuckled and later said you didn't take it so seriously at that time. But how do you respond to the Muslim New Yorkers who were offended by that and described that your reaction as Islamophobic?
Well, the Muslim community didn't say that. I was just endorsed by major leaders of the Muslim community. What I was saying is he is.
Do you think they might turn you away from Zohran's victory party like they did Sneeko because of all of his bad press? I don't know if you know this, but I was at the rally last week. Also, you're comparing me to Sneeko, who has literally denied the Holocaust. I think it's a little crazy to try and make a comparison like this one, especially considering that half of the fucking door knockers are from this community, and including canvas leads.
He is inexperienced, right? This is basically, if he wins as mayor, it's basically his first job. He was a rapper, an assemblyman for 2 terms. He only passed 3 bills, and he was absent more than anyone else. So being mayor is a complicated job. It's 300,000 employees. It's a $115 billion budget. And it is a situation where on any given day, you can deal with any unknown crisis. There's a difference between an executive position and a legislative position. You know, if you're a state legislator, you vote.
The question was, people say you're Islamophobic for saying Zohran would cheer on another 9/11.
If you're not running the marathon, or you're not like me and you can finish the marathon without having to go to the medical tent, sign up for a shift at ZohranforNYC.com/GOTV. Let's make history, one door at a time.